Shalom, welcome to Kabbalah Academy. Today it's time for the letter Ayin, value 70, external side. The Ayin is known as I, Milui of Ayin, Ayin, Yud, Nun, but then the Safit, of course, is known as the I. So what does the I do, right? Light bounces off matter, right? And is perceived as it enters the retina of the eye, okay? So light, matter, eye. So the eye is a portal, right? A portal. So one word for a gate, we often say gate. The sages speak of sha'ar, right? So sha'ar would be shin, ayin, resh, okay? So you could say light, the perception thereof, the forms, right? Or through the forms, because the forms can also hint at the midos. So the firelight of shin flows through the eye gate of ayin, right? And it becomes manifest in the formed reflections of resh. So this is how consciousness descends. So from pure illumination through awareness into the articulated qualities, the midos, the forms. So these shape human experience, right? So the soul refines its midot, resh, lifts its perception, ayin, and thereby opens the gate back to the original fire of shin. Right? So shin ignites, ayin beholds, and resh reflects. Through this gate, the unseen becomes seen, and the seen returns to its source. At least that's how it should be. Okay, so another word would be ayin, vav, and resh. It means various things. Okay, ayin, vav, resh. It's one of the permutations, one of the meanings. It's blind, to be blind. So this also we can break it down, right, into ayin being that side, right, vav, that connection, right, and resh, form, head, expression, right? So receiving the shin light and passes it inward, joining upper and lower vision, shaping light into holy attributes. But when the flow is blocked, so to say, when darkened sees only the surface appearance. If severed, perception is bound only to externals, right? The chitzoniot instead of the primiot. So when illuminated, becomes self-image or an idol. So this is about two ways of perceiving, right? The eye is not only a physical thing, of course. Far from it. So thus ayin, vav, resh, blind, describes when the conduit that should join the ayin's perception to its source is cut off, so leaving the rest form unconnected to inner light. It's not that the eye ceases to function, rather it functions without relation to its source, right? So it sees form but not essence. 70 ayin, right, as already told, 70 bound, vav, is to bind in the forms, okay? So no connection. And Master Yirah recently taught us that the Arizal mentions that at first Adam existed as a being of light, however after he sinned he was exiled in garden skin. So now existing as a physical form, this is hinted at by men and the woman who personify the ruach and the nefesh, who after the exile is garbed in physical existence. So Rabbi Meir Torah had a difference in the word skin. It was spelled Aleph, Vav, Resh, which means also light. So light. However, in our readings, the Zohar, and other sages write Ayin, Vav, Resh. So that same permutation as we just had, that spoke about to be blind, so to say. So there's a secret to it also, because you can re-permutate the letters, that's tzerufing the letters, and then you would get Resh, Ayin, which is Ra, evil, Vav, his evil. And that being connected to the word blindness makes me think of Samael. Samael means Somael, a blind god. So on a simple Peshat level, it expresses the idea that our disconnection from Hashem places the Ruach and Nefesh in a physical-based existence. Now, when reading the story of Adam, in the Soid HaRasin HaSatan of Likkutei Yirah 9, the son of Samuel, that he cooked and ate, said from within Adam, "Go on your way, I have now entered into their heart, and I will never depart from their heart, whether they or their descendants or the descendants of their descendants until the end of all generations." So the ingesting of Samuel's son is the birth of the Nefesh HaBahamis, being Nefesh Behemot, and animalistic soul, which is alluded to by the life is in the blood, and also the thoughts of a man's heart are evil continually. So this is the secret of what the Arizal said, that the soul of the nations is entirely evil. Now the nations collectively represent the realm of evil. This is hinted at in the Bahir, of which it was written, every mention of 70 alludes to 72. So one is Yisrael and the other is Satan, and the 70 being the nations. Okay. And to now give you a contrasting word the other way around with the Ayin, we get Ayin Dalet, which we say et. It means witness. Okay? So the Ayin is the eye, like we just spoke about, perception, awareness, the act of seeing or inner comprehension. And the Dalet being the door. Dalet is door, the passage. It's also humility and poverty. So the gate of manifestation, Malchut, the door through which perception enters reality. So Ayin upon Dalet, the eye upon the door. The eye focused on the door. So Et is sight, anchored in reality. Perception that reaches all the way into the world of form, being the Malchut. So the Zohar describes this same pattern in many places. Like Ayin Ilah, the upper eye gazes into Malchut to vivify it. And when that vision is clear, the lower world bears truthful witness, Edus. So when the vision is severed from its source, the world reflects illusion, false witness. So thus a true witness is one whose perception unites upper and lower, Chochmah seeing within Malchut. So the conclusion of these two opposing words, like false sight, right? The Ayin Vav Resh, Iver, sees only the Dalet, the surface, right? The Chitzoniot, so to say. So true sight, Ayin Dalet, sees the Dalet illuminated by the Ayin, inner and outer joint. Okay, so therefore the Torah calls heaven and earth Edim, witnesses, because they reveal what they receive. Deuteronomy 30 verse 19. We have another interesting word, and that word is afafim, meaning eyelids. That would be Ein Fe, okay, and then Yud Mem. Very interesting. We'll see it on the drawing table as well in a little bit. But it has two ayins in it and two fays, as the eyelids are boundaries. Right? They open when perception should flow outward and close when it should remain concealed. So the Zohar often uses closing of the eyes as a metaphor for the concealment of supernal light, not absence, but measured protection. In that sense, the double Ayin Pei shows the duality of revelation and concealment, as on both sides of vision, which are then projected upon the Malchut through Yisod, which is speech, mouth, Pei. So that's why there's two Ayins and two Feis, right? You perceive and project. 77 Zayin, 7 forms, Zayin Ra, now projected upon reality through the Yisod. That can be through both Yisods, but speech is a big factor in it also. So let's go to Likkutei Yirah 9. So again, this is the only sefer that teaches Lashon HaKodesh, real Lashon HaKodesh, and it says about the Ayin, the third of the 12 elemental letters Ayin, eyes. In English, this is the letter E or O. In Hebrew, this is seen in the word Ayin, milui, right? The spelling out. This letter has a direct link with the letter Kaf, which we learned was a covering for the light. Okay, so let's analyze this principle in depth. The principle. Everything in existence that has eyes will see only a covering of light upon solids. You see that the Ayin is connected there to the Kaf, right? Every eye will be designed for this function. In English, we see this in words such as see, eye. With the letter O, we see this in the instance of ocular and optic and many more, especially in all languages of the world. You will find Lashon reflecting there also. Now, before we go to the drawing table, I want to read this with you. It's a couple of pages, but it's very important. And it's found in Gate 8, the 7 eyes of the Lord. Okay. Later you'll see why this is so important on itself, but especially also with the numbers are found. They really connect there. So to make any sense of these numbers, one needs to be known with this particular gate. Okay, so the 7 Sefirot of Yetzirah are collectively called Zerampin. The 7 forms, as we have described up to this point, are the eyes by which reality is perceived. So collectively they are called the 7 eyes of Yud, He, Vav, and He. The Zohar says in the Idra Rabbah, book 17, section Naso, the eyes of Zer Anpin. 209. From those colors emanate 7 eyes of supervision. They emerge from the black in the eye. This is what is written upon one stone are 7 eyes. Zechariah 3:9. What is the meaning of one stone? It is the blackness of the eye. Commentary. Those colors are 7 in number, which refer to the rainbow which is seen in heaven, Zerampin, which is Yetzirah, in that each Sephirot is attributed a color. The black in the eye refers to the heart spark, Bina, called the black of the eye. In example, Keter, the surrounding white, in the secret of the endless, Chochma, which is the Tzimtzum and the color of the eye, and the heart spark in the center being the black of the eye. 231 gates which emanate these 7. Thus it states upon one stone are 7 eyes. As it is known, the heart spark emanates the 7 kings which are the roots of the matter. It further clarifies this with the closing statement, what is the meaning of one stone? It is the blackness of the eye. Now Chesed is blue, Gevura is red, Tiferes is yellow, Netzach is green, Hod is orange, Yisod is black, and Malchut is colorless. Okay, let's continue. Here you have the eyes depicted. Beautiful Tikkun Master Yirah made. The Zohar continues to describe the evil inclination and the good inclination in the following verse. First, the evil inclination. Okay. From the red in the eye emerge 7 runners that support the left side and glow in the fire of the north side. They are attached to the red color in order to expand in the world to reveal the ways of the wicked. This is what is written, those 7, the eyes of Yud, He, Vav, and He. They rove to and fro through the whole earth. Commentary read here refers to Gevura and the desire body. Here we see it written, the eyes, plural, always referring to 7 eyes, and this is because it was stated upon one stone were 7 eyes. Eyes, plural, always alludes to 7, and remember this principle as it will be touched on later. In example, open my eyes, 7 forms, and in another place, his eyes, 7 forms, were opened. This is associated also with the Satan, who is called the evil inclination, and it was stated in Job in regards to his functions, Satan said to and fro through the whole world, earth. This is the same as is stated here. Those 7, the eyes of YHVH, they rove to and fro through the whole earth. This is because the evil inclination, Satan, are those 7 eyes. In example, those 7 forms, when they draw from the left side or the evil inclination. Before we go on, I want to say that YHVH is the name that the sun takes upon him. Yes, Zerampin. In many cases, it speaks about Zerampin. So Gevura is the secret of the north, and it is known the angel Samael is located here, who is the angel of Esau. Gevura. These eyes are the collection of negative experience through which these 7 forms experience life in the lens of the negative. The collective sum of experiences, which is the serpent that Samael, in example, negativity rides on. The good inclination is now described in the following verse. To 11. From the green emerge 7 lights that circle to the south side. They attach themselves to spread in the world and discover the ways and deeds of the people, either for good or for bad, as it is written, for his eyes are upon the ways of man. So, commentary, from the green refers to the Sefirot Netzach and the soul form. Afterwards, it mentioned these 7 lights circle the south side. It is known south is the Sefirot Chesed. These refer to the spirit form and the soul form, which are nourished from the side of holiness. In example, the good inclination, as opposed to the evil inclination. These 7 lights are the varying good experiences we have, in example, the lights among the darkness. Here the good inclination is personified as light, which is a giving force in that it provides light, as opposed to the 7 eyes which receive and conceal the light. With this we can understand how the evil inclination conceals the light and the good inclination reveals that light. Okay? So, the rest we'll leave for another time. We're off to the drawing table now. Okay, so we arrived at the gematria here. So the ayin, values 70, 16 in the ordinal, and 7 in the katan. So, like we said, 70 nations, 7 being Zerampin, the forms, right? Also very interesting is when we go to the first expansion, Milui, there is, we get a gematria, a Mishpar Gadol, with the Nun being 700 of 780. The regular gematria is 130, which in Kollel would be Samael. The ordinal is 40, and the katan is 13. Before we proceed, you might have already seen it in the Likkutei in my notes. The 130 is very interesting, because to look at it again, Ayin 130 is 5 times 26. Right? 5 times 26. And you see that we're speaking about a certain duality here. So that's why I marked it blue and red, because we have 5 Gevurot, right? And 5 Chesedim. Gevurot, Chesedim. Okay? We already saw it a little bit, the duality there in the Ayin Fe word, which I put here at the bottom again to remember it well. So now we were here, okay? So this sum total here gives us a 963. Okay? Veshavat Ha'Ayin-ע, Ha'Ayin-ע, the eyes, and the 7 eyes. This already hinted, and the 7 eyes, which we just read in Likkutei Yirah 9. Okay? So if we go to the next Milui, the second spelling out of Ayin Yud Nun, we get various values: 256 Gematria, 94 ordinal, 40, making a total of 390, which is Shaman. But in this case, to build this case, we will use the Shamayim, because this is very applicable to this teaching, because Shamayim, the heavenlies, are Zerampin Yetzirah. Okay? So we know the word Ha-Shamayim, he created the heavens, which is 5 Shin, fires, and 5 Mayim, waters, 5 Chesedim, and 5 Gevurot, 2 eyes. Okay? So, further, the triangular expansion was interesting, as it gives a Mispar Gadol, with the nuns being 700, of 930, which means 3 things. Namely, Hithazakti, which is I strengthened myself, I became strong. Vetoevotam, and their abominations, okay? Because the 67 I hated, right? And lefatetka, to entice you, to seduce you, which is that serpent, right? 7-headed serpent that entices, seduces you. He became strong. You can also become strong. We see that because the value here, let's go back to the top, of the 130, the 40, and the 13, Gematria, Ordinal, and Katan, is 183, which is Yaakov, who struggled with the Samael. So you see this duality here, okay? He struggled with the Satan, with the Samael. This is why we have the 2 eyes, right, left, Chesedim, Gevurot. Okay, so we treated all this. Let's see where I was. Okay, so the next is the Gematria of the triangular expansion was 280, Sandalphon, but if you do it in Kollel, 281, it's Kan Samael, the nest of Samael. Where is he nested? The forms, right? So, and then we have an 82, which is Elohim plus Samael, right? In the ordinal, that is 41 times 2. It's also 28, Koyach. I became strong, remember? Koyach. 2 times Yad, 2 hands. Also 2 sides. So, but now comes, here again we have a 390. We had a 390 there. We have a 390 here. Again, the Shamayim, right? But the sum total of the Mishpar, the Gematria, the Ordinal, and the Katan is 1320. Now 1310 is Nesher, Chamor, and Shor. Center, right, and left. Nachash, initial spell Nachash. They value in total 1310. Then you can say it lacks 10, but there are exactly 10 letters here. Okay? So 10 letters plus the value 1310. Nachash, the serpent. Nesher, Chamor, eagle, donkey, and ox. Okay, center, right, and left column. So I think we had all of the. Oh no, I have one thing. The Afafim, the eyelids, values 350, which is 7 times Tumeh, impurity, which is 50. 7 times 50, the 50 gates of impurity. Equals also Paro, 70 bulls of Pharaoh. Okay? So I want to read one more thing with you from Emech Hamelech. So the Sefer has been translated by our beloved brother Shalom Molko, who translated great works into English. Really, really clean translations. Amazing work. Many of these works were not available to us in the Western world before. And so I want to read to you chapter 44 about the letter Ayin. Its point was divided into two. The right side extended before the left, and the line was drawn out and went beyond the boundary. And as soon as it saw this, it sought to fold and raise that line upward. And through this, the second line, which was the second part, descended upon that first line. For it wished to ascend, but it did not permit it, because of the weight that it placed upon it. And it remained curved downward. And thus the form of the Ayin remained in this matter. So, and if you ask, why was its point divided into two? Because this point is in the mystery of the two parzufim, that is male and female. And in all the letters, the force of the male is always lesser in quantity than the force of the female, because all the letters are in the mystery of the feminine. For just as the female gives birth, so too the letters give birth to other letters through their milui. Okay, we'll leave it at that. You see that many is hidden here in the Lashon, in the Gematria. These works, these amazing books, Likkutei Yirah and Torah of Mashiach and Shaal's translations, plus many more are found on the website Kabbalah Academy.online. And you can buy physical copies on Amazon, bookbaby.com. If you can afford one, you can download a free PDF file of the Likkutei Yirah 9, that is, okay? The Kabbalistical translations by Shaul Mochel are not expensive at all. It's really a treasure. What he did is amazing, and yes, I advise all those who study Kabbalah to go and look for his works. And yes, many blessings, much love, shalom and salah.